Some players get drafted really low in the draft, get overlooked, and end up being really great players. Some players get drafted high and are barely remembered for having an NBA career. But some players go undrafted and end up not only having productive careers, but were individually successful and were big impacts for their team. To be honest, there is a really long list of undrafted players who ended up having good careers and becoming important cogs for their teams, but we will concentrate on a few players who fit this mold. Players we think that deserve to be mentioned. Do you guys have any favorite undrafted players? I know my favorite player of all time is listed in this video. Let us know yours in the comments below. Now, every year, some of the top potential draftees do not hear their name called on draft day. These are players who, at one time, may have been highly ranked in their high school class and/or have won college tournament games. The thing is, even though they went undrafted, they can still translate their skills to the NBA and make excellent contributors to championship teams. Like we pointed out already, the NBA is actually full of stories of undrafted players eventually filling into important roles, and we will get to some of those players and others. But before we jump in, please remember that if you've enjoyed the video thus far and can't wait to see what undrafted players ended up having great careers and being important pieces to their team, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure to tell your friends and family about the journey we are about to embark on. Now let's dive in a bit deeper. Some undrafted players who made honorable mentions for us that we want to highlight before diving deeper into the bigger undrafted players are Chris "Birdman" Anderson, who in 2013 with the Miami Heat led the playoffs to an 80.7 FG percentage, albeit on 6.4 PPG. He was a major bench player for that 2013 Miami Heat championship team. JJ Barea, who in 2011 with the Dallas Mavericks started 3 of 21 games in their 2011 playoffs, where he was a key contributor and helped Dallas win their first NBA championship. Jeremy Lin, who was best known for Linsanity in New York and had 6 seasons of 11+ PPG. Brad Miller, who played with 6 different teams, most notably the Sacramento Kings, and was an All-Star twice. Raja Bell, who is best known for his back and forth with Kobe Bryant during the playoffs when he was with the Suns, also made All-Defense first team and second team. Tim Legler, who was the 3-point percentage leader in the 1995-96 season and won the 1996 3-point shootout. The first player we will dive in a bit deeper with is Fred VanVleet. As we saw with Fred VanVleet's viral draft day video, going undrafted may come down to betting on yourself and what you know you can bring to the table. VanVleet claims that he was given the option to possibly be drafted with the stipulation that he develops in the G League for a few seasons at well below a typical NBA salary, such as $10,000 to $20,000 per year. Well, he declined, and he bet on himself, and not only did it pay off, but it led to Freddie V being a major contributor for the Toronto Raptors during their championship run last year. VanVleet is an NBA Finals winning contributor that went undrafted, and to us, that is pretty amazing. Next is Bruce Bowen. The 13-year NBA veteran had to work very hard to find a spot in the NBA after spending his college career on the roster for Cal State Fullerton. Bowen even had to play a couple of years in France and in the NBA Development League, now known as the G League, before earning the chance to be a part of the Miami Heat roster. Afterwards, Bowen was a journeyman for a bit, but found a home with the San Antonio Spurs. Not surprisingly at all, with his propensity for sniffing out talent like a hound dog, it was Greg Popovich who got the best out of him, as Bowen was a key piece in the Spurs' 2001 championship run alongside Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan, and helped them win a few rings. Bruce even had his number 12 jersey retired by the Spurs. By the end of his career, Bowen accomplished being a 3-time second place in Defensive Player of the Year, tied most with David Robinson and Kevin Garnett, 5-time All-Defense First Team, 3-time All-Defense Second Team, and a 3-time NBA champion. I guess you could call him a defensive juggernaut. Next is my favorite player of all time. Being a Knicks fan, I have a lot of big names to choose from, but when I was a kid, the guy I wanted to be, and that stood out to me, was Jon Starks. He was the ultimate underdog. The former Oklahoma State point guard was undrafted in the 1987 NBA draft despite his 15.4 points per game on 49.7 shooting through his senior year. After spending some time with the CBA and the WBL, Starks got the chance to play for the Golden State Warriors, but his time with the Knicks was actually his most successful time in the NBA. After injuring his right knee trying to dunk on Patrick Ewing, the Knicks couldn't cut him due to a clause on his contract. However, that wound up working just fine for everybody, as Starks turned into a very decent player for them. With career averages of 12.6 points and 3.6 assists through his career, Starks was even an All-Star and the NBA's 6th Man of the Year, spending his 14-year NBA career with the Knicks, the Bulls, the Warriors, and the Jazz. Some extra highlights on Starks include being one-time All-Star, one-time All-Defense Second Team, 5th place in 1993 DPOY, 6th Man of the Year in 1997, 9 seasons of 12-plus PPG, and 7 playoffs of 12-plus PPG. And yes, that old-school Starks, Mitchell, and Ness is still one of my favorite jerseys. Udonis Haslem is the next guy on the list. Haslem is one of the most important players in Miami Heat history, along with Alonzo Mourning, earning all his 3 rings with the Heat alongside legend Dwayne Wade. Nevertheless, Haslem's journey was quite difficult at first, going undrafted in 2002 after spending 4 years under Billy Donovan and the Florida Gators. After spending 1 year in France, Haslem signed a 1-year deal as a free agent with the Heat, and the rest is history, becoming the franchise's leading rebounder and winning 3 rings. Over his 13-year career, Haslem has averaged 7.9 points and 7 rebounds, being a great leader and mentor on and off the court for Pat Riley's squad. He's also the Miami Heat's all-time rebounds leader. Avery Johnson, aka Little General, is another legend who went undrafted in the NBA. The former Coach of the Year was also a very successful basketball player, not to be drafted by any NBA team. Nevertheless, thanks to an outstanding Summer League performance, the Seattle Supersonics took a leap of faith on him, starting a 16-year career, where he played for the Nuggets, Spurs, Warriors, Mavericks, and Rockets, earning career averages of 8.4 points and 5.5 assists per game. Other noteworthy career stats for Avery Johnson are being a 1-time NBA champion in 1999, 5 playoffs of 12-plus PPG, and an NBA Sportsmanship Award. Next is Jose Calderon. Calderon made it to Toronto in 2005 after being a complete sensation playing in his native ACB in Spain. Calderon became an instant leader through 8 years up north before playing for the Pistons, the Mavericks, the Knicks, the Lakers, and the Hawks. He's also one of the most important players in Spanish basketball history, earning 2 bronze medals, 4 silver medals, and even a couple of golden prizes alongside other Spanish legends like Juan Carlos Navarro, Pau Gasol, and Felipe Reyes. Calderon averaged 9.7 points and 6.3 assists per game, and became the first Spanish player to ever win an NBA playoffs game, as well as becoming the league-leading 3-point percentage shooter in the 2012-13 campaign. More accomplishments worth mentioning for Calderon is that he led league with 5.38 to 1 assist to turnover ratio in 2007-8 and was an FT percentage leader in 2008-9, record 98.1% FT. It's hard to believe it, but the two-way sharpshooting guard, Wesley Matthews, wasn't drafted in the 2009 NBA draft, and after 4 full seasons with the Marquette Golden Eagles. He earned his spot in the NBA thanks to his great performances with the Utah Jazz over the Summer League. Wesley's stats over his career includes 8 seasons of 12-plus PPG, 4 playoffs of 13-plus PPG, and he also played great defense on Durant at the 2016 first-round playoff series. Now, saving the best for last, in my humble opinion, is the best undrafted player to play in the NBA thus far, and that is Mr. Ben Wallace. Obviously, Big Ben earned the top spot on this list as the ultimate bad boy 2.0 wasn't drafted in 1996. But that didn't stop him from becoming an NBA champion and one of the league's most talented defenders, being tied with Dikembe Mutombo with his 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Big Ben played with the Wizards, the Orlando Magic, the Chicago Bulls, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Pistons, where he thrived the most with his old-school, in-your-face, tough guy attitude. His physical style of play made him one of the most feared players in the entire NBA. The 4-time All-Star and 2001 leading shot blocker of the league averaged 5.7 points, 9.6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.3 steals, and 2 blocks per game through his 16-year career, becoming one of the league's most fierce players and earning the love from the fans thanks to his fearless style of play. I always said he was a combination of Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer. Want more Big Ben? Let's go through his career accolades. He was a 1-time NBA champion, 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA second team, 2-time All-NBA third team, 2-time rebounds leader, 1-time blocks leader, one of 5 players to have simultaneously led the league in RPG and BPG, 4-time DPOY, tied most with Mutombo, 5-time top 2 in DPOY voting, tied most with Mutombo, 5-time All-Defense First Team, 1-time All-Defense Second Team, Detroit Pistons all-time blocks leader, averaged a double-double in the 2004 and 2005 playoffs during the Pistons' last 2 final appearances, only undrafted player to start an All-Star game, one of 3 players with multiple 5x4s in the playoffs, at least 4 each in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He and Draymond did it 2 times each. Hakeem did it 8 times. 5 playoffs simultaneously averaging 1.5 plus steals and 1.5 plus blocks for 2 plus rounds, tied most with Hakeem Olajuwon, only player along with Hakeem to simultaneously average 2.0 steals and 2.5 blocks in a playoff run of 2 plus rounds. Ben is the only one to do it with 2.1 plus steals and 2.5 plus blocks as well. And finally, the Pistons under Wallace led the 2002 to 2006 playoffs in least points allowed for 5 consecutive years. The only other teams to do this 3 straight years are the 1964 to 66 Celtics, among 6 teams, and 1988 to 90 Pistons. There have been many undrafted NBA players who developed into household names. These are my favorite. Who are yours and why? Please comment below.